Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got an interesting video here. This is video game related. This is top 20 PlayStation 2 games better than modern games. And we'll get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. I need y'all to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment the thing down below. I forgot to turn my TV off. Let's go.
Let's rock.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. The current gaming landscape may be on fire, but during the PS2 era, we had more and better games that managed to put modern titles and developers to shame 2 decades later.
Dad, the fans want you outside.
Fans? Oh, those fans.
Resident Evil Outbreak. Remember Resident Evil Reverse, the multiplayer-focused offering that no one was asking for? Well, it's deader than the series' zombies only a couple years after release. Why Capcom chose that particular genre is anyone's guess, especially when the groundwork for a beloved online Resident Evil game had been laid 20 years earlier. Teaming up with other real-world players, the group needs to work together to escape Raccoon City during the midst of the zombie outbreak, and each member of the group had special abilities that would assist in various puzzles and combat encounters. Outbreak was absolutely...
That's actually genius of an idea. So you play, and you each get assigned a character, and that character has special abilities, and that helps you solve the stuff. But you all pretty much need to work together. It's a team effort in it. Love it. That's genius.
Absolutely a title that was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Especially with one of the game's main characters, Alyssa Ashcroft, tying directly into Requiem. Capcom clearly hasn't forgotten this gem that showed them how to properly do online cooperative play all the way back on the PS2.
You were lucky.
I earned it.
Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. There was a time when Gran Turismo was the premier car enthusiast series. And while that's still mostly true today, the series doesn't carry the same weight it once did. And arguably, the series has been chasing the same heights of Gran Turismo 3 ever since the early days of the PS2. A-Spec put the Gran Turismo series on even the most casual racer's radar, and made such a cultural impact on the genre, it still hasn't been matched even by the series' subsequent sequels. With nearly 200 cars, multiple levels of challenge for everyone from die-hard fans to beginners, fully fleshed out tuning and customization options, and numerous race modifiers, A-Spec remains the ultimate gearheads game and still has a thriving community even today. With the increased focus on microtransactions and online play of the series, A-Spec remains one of the best entries focused on the race itself and the cars on the track. Soul Calibur 3.
I'm impressed that you made it.
Okay, that's the game. It's the first one I've not heard of. I've not played some of these. I don't own a PlayStation 2. Freaking wish I did. I don't own a PlayStation 2 though, so we don't get the chance to do that. But yeah, we got this. We got games I at least know of. The last two. I didn't know this one. I don't know this one at all.
This far. Not bad.
It's just a fighting game, I assume.
The PS2 had no shortage
Oh, it's just one of
titles,
them.
but few,
Okay.
if any, managed to be
Lizard Men!
consistently entertaining as Soul Calibur 3. The focus on weaponized combat as opposed to fisticuffs was unlike any other fighter, and with a swath of improvements across the board, Soul Calibur 3 remains one of the
Especially with Lizard Man.
entries in the franchise. While the vibrantly beautiful character and arena designs and solid, impactful combat would have been enough to make the title stand out, it was the game's character creator that really allowed players to customize their experience. Utilizing a myriad of fighting styles, armors, and weapons, players could craft their own combatant to play through the game's many challenges, and allowed for better and more replayability than in the series' past.
I wish fighting games would have their own creative person. That would be awesome. Like a career, you could do like a story mode, but that'd be genius.
Soul Calibur might be on its 6th entry today, but it has yet to meet the quality of the PS2 entries.
You're better than I expected. Your skill is a part of the
Unfortunately, neither choice works for me.
Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King.
You're fast. I guess thieves need to be quick on their toes. But you won't get away from me this time.
Dragon Quest already had a devoted following, but it was the series' 8th entry that made the casual crowd take notice. During the height of Dragon Ball Z's popularity in the West, Akira Toriyama's iconic art style was finally fully realized in gorgeous 3D models, bringing the world and the tale of a band of heroes trying to prevent the end of the world to life in a way the series never had before.
I will be honest, this game looks kind of impressive. I actually love the look of it. I will admit, I do love the look of this.
The world itself felt alive thanks to the in-game day-night cycle, and every town you visit felt different from the last, making the world feel like a real place. Combat might not have been anything special, but the turn-based mechanics the series helped pioneer were and still remain the industry standard.
What? Still here? If you won't do us the favor of leaving, I'll be happy to provide some encouragement.
Okami. What is arguably one of the most beautifully artistic games ever made, Okami introduced players to not only a world they never experienced or history they likely never knew existed, but game mechanics that were unlike anything else on the PS2.
Okay, that actually looks kind of cool. This looks sick.
Embracing the experimental nature of video games, Okami gave players a watercolor world and the tools to bring it to life. The entire world feels handcrafted, as if a painting had come to life to tell its story and you were the artist. The Celestial Brush allowed players to not only rebuild the world, but also utilize a multitude of brushstrokes in combat as well. While video games continue chasing the uncanny valley of realism, Okami utilized its cel-shaded art style to make itself stand out, and remains an icon of the PS2 era's experimental approach to game design.
You are also noticing, right, that a lot of people nowadays, you watch the PlayStation State of Play, which I think I should react to for the Pacific trailers. They're kind of going back more old school. I would love to see someone make a game currently like this, because it's genuinely incredible. This looks incredible. There should be more. There should be another game made like this.
PS2 era's experimental approach to game design. Need for Speed, Most Wanted.
He's dangerous. Be careful. He'll swat paint if he has to.
First, I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for that.
Need for Speed has been going through something of an identity crisis.
Love Need for Speed. I love the old Need for Speed games. I don't know if I've played this specific one, but I've played some.
Recent years, but on the PS2, not only did the series thrive with entries such as Hot Pursuit 2 and Underground, but
I think Hot Pursuit 2 is the one I've played. I believe. Don't fully remember, but I know I've played like old Need for Speed games. I've not played anything recent.
managed to become innovators of the genre with Most Wanted. Combining the best elements of both Underground and Hot Pursuit, Most Wanted dropped players into a massive open world full of shortcuts, jumps, and hidden secrets, and challenged them to regain their street cred while avoiding the law. Taking cues from GTA's Wanted system, the longer you were able to outrun the police, the more severe the response became, until it felt like the military itself was bearing down on you. This was the Fast and Furious formula fully realized, and the result is just as exhilarating today. Hell, even the live-action FMV cutscenes were well done and surprisingly entertaining.
Hey, where's your punk money now?
What happened?
What happened is he's all show and no go.
Dark Cloud 2.
I was so scared then, but in a way it was really fun.
These days, developers try to blend as many genres as possible into the game to appeal to the widest demographics, oftentimes much to the game's detriment.
Yeah.
However, Level 5 managed the impossible way back in the early days of the PS2. With a time-bending narrative, a gorgeous cel-shaded art style, dungeon crawling, fishing, weapon crafting, and city-building mechanics, modern games would crumble under the ambition of this forgotten RPG gem. The cities you rebuild affect the future as you hop back and forth, and you earn specific rewards for rebuilding the city to the residents' request, and can even use materials found in the game's many dungeons to forge and invent your own weapons. This was probably the closest the PS2 ever got to having their own Legend of Zelda title, and everything about the game worked brilliantly and all tied back into the game's overall narrative.
It must have picked your father. And then it picked you, Max.
What? Me?
Black.
16 target by the street halfway to the north. We're circling around here to find an alternate route, over.
These days, first-person shooters can be anything from hyper-realistic to zany, cartoony, over-the-top experiences with no regard for the laws of physics. But with Black, developer Criterion managed to find a balance between the two and fully embrace the insanity of the genre. Black not only uses its spy movie influences to craft its world, but combines that with some of the most bombastic gunplay the genre has to offer. The sounds of the game's many weapons and explosions was enough to blow out your speakers, and it was glorious.
Yes,
the
it was.
cacophony of chaos was all the more impactful with the game's approach to environmental destruction, with much of the game's world fully explodable. Black dropped you into the middle of multiple war zones and gave you the weapons to let the enemies know you weren't trapped in the arena with them.
They were with you.
Here with you.
Yeah. It looks cool. Like I'm not. It does look cool.
Hearts 2.
Hell yeah! Shout out Kingdom Hearts.
And now for something that modern Disney would never agree to. We have a series that has no right to work as well as it did, or be such a revolutionary cultural moment back on the...
Telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you now. Disney would be a fucking thing, because Disney is such an insufferable thing to be around. Not as bad as Nintendo. I'll still say Nintendo's the worst company there is when it comes to games and fucking shit and streaming and that, but yeah, there's no way they'd agree to this now.
PS2. Born from a simple and literal elevator pitch, Kingdom Hearts combined the best of the Disney Vault and Final Fantasy's RPG elements, threw them into a blender, and gave us one of the deepest and most complicated video game lores of all time. Whereas the first game was a solid yet flawed experiment, the sequel fully realized the concept's potential while also delivering the engaging combat the first game was missing. More cameos, more detailed worlds to explore, a deeper narrative full of twists and turns, more options for your companions to aid you in battle, Donald, and everything came together so perfectly, even the most recent third entry couldn't recapture the magic. Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ta-da! You scared me.
You done with my butt? Yet. There's an idiot causing trouble a few blocks from here.
We had no shortage of Spider-Man games on the PS2, including the highly influential Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in, but even with the numerous subsequent web-swinging adventures, including Insomniac's forays into the red and blue tights, none have managed to capture the pure essence of the webhead better than Ultimate Spider-Man.
This is one I barely hear about. The one I always hear about Spider-Man 2. I've always heard about that one and how good that one is. I've not heard this once at all. This is not one I know about.
The cel-shaded art style, perfectly paired with the use of comic book panels during cutscenes, brought the world of Ultimate Spider-Man to life in a way no adaptation ever had before or since. This game also perfectly captured Peter's witty sense of humor adapted directly from the series that inspired it.
Hey you! Is that a rhinoceros horn or you just have to be to see? I am so scared I can't even finish my lame joke.
The open world was wonderfully put together and even allowed players to experience two separate campaigns as both Spidey and Venom, each with their own unique powers. Throw in a myriad of cameos and you've got the best adaptation of the webhead probably ever. The Mark of Kree. The Mark of Kree is often overlooked in discussing the best action-adventure titles on the PS2, but it deserves so much more recognition than it has received. Using a Polynesian visual style with its...
By the way, if you're watching this and you own a PS2, please tell me what your favorite PlayStation 2 games. It doesn't have to be on this list. It doesn't have to be better than current games. Just what is your favorite PlayStation 2 game to play? Or what was, if you had one.
Gorgeous watercolor aesthetic The Mark of Kree was wildly innovative with its combat system when other action games were focused primarily on button mashing. By highlighting enemies, they would be assigned a specific face button and could only be damaged by the corresponding button. This system was incredibly innovative for the time, and in some ways led to Rocksteady's implementation of their now industry standard combat mechanics in their Arkham series. Combat notwithstanding, the Mark of Kree represented a shift towards developers adapting broader cultural legends and heritage that has become much more mainstream in modern gaming. Suikoden 3. Suikoden 2 is widely regarded as one of the greatest RPGs of all time, but its follow-up doesn't always get the same level of respect. With 3 entirely separate protagonists, each with their own dedicated storyline, and the ability to recruit well over 100 additional characters to your party, RPGs don't get much deeper than this.
That's crazy.
Nowadays, RPG characters can sometimes feel one-dimensional. Their motivations almost non-existent besides you asking them to join your party. But Suikoden 3 somehow made each of these hundreds of characters feel real with their own backstories and motivations for joining your cause. Not only do the main characters all have different battle styles, but you also need to plan party formations and group attacks as well as some more cinematic one-on-one encounters to deepen the emotional stakes. With so many individual characters and a deep, interesting narrative, Suikoden 3 is one of the most detailed and deepest RPGs ever made. The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Okay.
The game that I am shocked they have not remade. I am legitimately shocked they have not remade this after so long. It has been one of the most begged games to get remade, I think, in modern history. And they've yet to do it, and it shocks me to my core, because it's such an easy win. It's an easy win.
Okay. It was so long ago that I'll have to describe it in sepia tone. Well,
we used to be proper gamers. We had more Simpsons games than we knew what to do with, and now we get less than nothing. Were a lot of them crap? Of course they were, but they were still fun even if they were broken, near unplayable messes that no one asked for. And right when it seemed like they were finding their groove, boom, no more Simpsons games for you. Without question, the last great Simpsons...
I am shocked they've not made a new one, but like, this is the Simpsons game.
...was Hit and Run, and proved that all it took was the family finding the right formula to rip off. Repurpose to create a classic. Everything from the look of Springfield to the characters, the writing, and even the gameplay were the best The Simpsons ever had. And we may never get another tie-in or Simpsons game like this ever again, and that makes us sad.
That does.
Imagine that, scared of some harmless nuclear waste. So very harmless. Oh, cut your fingernails!
SSX Tricky.
Right on, baby.
What?
Believe it or not, there was a time when extreme sports games were their own genre. Now, almost nothing. And the few that we do get fail to recapture the pure, unadulterated fun and outlandishness that was SSX Tricky. Featuring some of the series' most recognizable characters, simply making it down the mountain in first was only half the battle. With countless unlockable outfits and boards, a myriad of tricks to learn, and the ever-increasing challenge of the races themselves, Tricky was a trip in every sense of the experience. SSX3 attempted to leave some of the over-the-top gimmicks behind, and the relaunched SSX in 2012 was a shell of its former self. For whatever reason, developers didn't think players wanted flashy characters who would trash-talk one another between races, and allowed brightly colored tracks to race down at breakneck speed. Weird. It's almost like they forgot games were meant to be fun.
I came, I saw, I kicked some booty.
Ratchet & Clank, up your arsenal.
Hey, look, it's a new sergeant.
Huh?
Ratchet & Clank is the game I still need to get into. I'm telling you, I'm going to be doing more gaming stuff on here, I swear.
Here, Sergeant, you can have my gun. There's too many of them. We're all gonna die.
The Ratchet & Clank series might still be ongoing today, but something just feels different. Once the series hit the PS3 and beyond, the entire franchise began to take on a darker, more mature tone. Whereas the PS2 entries were almost entirely focused on delivering unbridled chaos with as many inventive weapons as possible. Sure, there was still a narrative tying everything together, but the events were much more lighthearted and played for laughs rather than trying to pull at your heartstrings. Up Your Arsenal remains the peak for the franchise, offering the most over-the...
I will defend them on that because I feel like that's most of the tone for narrative games. I feel like you kind of have to go that route. I don't think there's really many narrative games you could do, games that have narrative that you could just have be not somewhat serious, because that's just the way the world is at the moment. But I still think Ratchet Clank games usually look and are good.
Top weaponry alongside the most varied activities and worlds in the entire series. Giant Clank worlds, Captain Quark side-scrolling levels, challenge modes, and even an addictive online multiplayer component. The Ratchet and Clank titles of today feel bare bones compared to the pair's previous outings.
Do not even think about it.
Burnout 3, Takedown.
Well, that one was fun.
Traditional arcade racers might be a dying genre these days, but back on the PS2, these kinds of games thrived, and none more so than Burnout 3 Takedown. Beyond the overall goal of crossing the finish line first, players were challenged to take down the other racers in whatever brutal ways they could, and were rewarded with cinematic car carnage for their efforts.
Yeah, man.
In return, Burnout 3 was rewarding and challenging the player's skills. Whether it be new cars, time trials, or the ever-addicting crash mode, Burnout 3 gave players more content to keep them coming back for more, and it was all on the disc. Can you imagine? No DLCs, no microtransactions, just a complete experience that remains not only one of the best racers on the PS2, but probably one of the best racing games of all time, and nothing today even comes close. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Hell yeah! Star Wars!
In video games, there's no property more varied and expansive than the galaxies far, far away in Star Wars. And who wouldn't want to team up with their buddies and shoot the absolute crap out of each other using their favorite characters from that beloved universe? Before Helldivers 2, we had Star Wars Battlefront 2, where every battle felt like the climactic conclusion to one of the many legendary adventures in the Star Wars universe. And with a plethora of weapons, characters, and vehicles to bring into battle, there was truly no better way to experience George Lucas's world than Battlefront 2. Not only was the multiplayer some of the best on the system, but there was even a meaningful and detailed single-player campaign as well. No absurd microtransactions, just good, clean Star Wars chaos. And it was glorious. Why was this so hard to replicate, DICE? Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening.
Damn it! You guys totally wrecked my shop, and I haven't even named it yet! You're gonna pay for that.
Remember when action games were a thing? Before every so-called action game was really just a Souls-like in disguise?
Yeah.
Devil May Cry remembers. Devil May Cry remains the peak
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Today, but with entries so few and far between, it's worth remembering back on the PS2, we had two incredible games and one we don't talk about. Dante's Awakening was the encapsulation of the series' ideas perfected. A cool and confident hero with the skills to back up his sarcastic attitude, a cinematic narrative wrapped up in brotherly family drama, a world-ending calamity full of creative creature and boss designs waiting to meet the end of your sword, and other assorted weaponry. Dante's Awakening focused purely on the adrenaline-fueled spectacle, and while it offered challenge for those looking for it, wanted nothing more than the player to have a good time.
Now that you mention it, you're right.
Final Fantasy X.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
There are so many Final Fantasy and Zelda and all that games, it's crazy.
The Final Fantasy series was once a juggernaut of JRPGs, and while the name still carries weight today, back in the day, the release of a new Final Fantasy game was an event. And without a doubt, the last true Final Fantasy game was the 10th entry. With turn-based combat on its way out, Final Fantasy X introduced new quick-time elements to keep combat constantly engaging and what is widely considered one of the series' best and most emotional storylines in the entire franchise. The move to 3D environments and the addition of voice acting brought the world to life in a way the series never had before, and along with their unique designs, made them icons of the series. There's a reason Final Fantasy X has managed to stand the test of time, and it's because it represents the last traditional Final Fantasy experience.
I see. I think. Yeah, but I would say something. No one believed me, you know?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Hell yeah! Oh shit! Here we go again.
Oh shit. Here we go again. Worst place in the world.
Ever since GC.
I wanted to play it because I don't have a PS2. I wanted to play the trilogy, but the trilogy, like, fucking disc thing, fucking dog shit. Oh man, that's just, they did that thing dirty.
GTA 3, the Grand Theft Auto series has been one of the most celebrated and respected franchises in all of gaming.
It should be.
Each entry getting bigger and better, they also have gotten much more serious and left out some of the anarchy that made the series infamous back on the PS2. San Andreas is arguably the last entry that fully embraced the series' chaos, giving players a, for the time anyways, massive open world to explore, full of secrets and even RPG-style game mechanics to customize their character, as well as a narrative that perfectly balanced the franchise's over-the-top nature, while also telling a compelling narrative that is still infinitely quotable even today. Subsequent entries have improved the graphics, the physics, and the gameplay, but there's something perfect about the unrelenting mayhem the PS2 entries let us unleash that the franchise has lost over the years.
Okay,
Go. I ain't gonna miss you.
goodbye.
Which PS2 game do you...
Hey, let me know what you thought of these games in the comments. Again, let me know what your favorite PS2 game is/was in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.